Do you ever feel like you're just navigating life without a map? Maybe you feel stuck at a crossroads, not sure which path to take, or even questioning who you really are. It's a common feeling, like being adrift in a sea of endless choices and expectations. But what if the map to your future isn't something you have to find out there? What if it's been with you this whole time, tucked away in the stories of your past? For years, I felt that same sense of being stuck. Making big decisions was a struggle, and I had this nagging feeling that I didn't have a solid foundation to stand on. It was a quiet, constant anxiety. Then, one day, while clearing out my grandfather's attic, I found a dusty box of old family letters. I started reading, and one story, a single narrative from a relative I'd never met, changed everything. It wasn't some dramatic, life-altering secret. It was a simple story about resilience, and it became my anchor. Today, we read talking about why your family's story is one of the most powerful tools you have for personal growth. This isn't just about names and dates on a family tree. It's about finding your strength, your purpose, and your identity in the lives of the people who came before you. We all have a fundamental need to feel like we belong to something bigger than ourselves. Without that connection, it's easy to feel isolated, and our sense of self can feel fragile. Psychologists actually have a term for the powerful identity that comes from knowing your family history: the intergenerational self. Pioneering research from Emory University, led by Dr. Marshall Duke and Dr. Robin Fivush, found that individuals with a strong knowledge of their family's narratives tend to have higher self-esteem and a stronger sense of control over their lives. Think of it this way: your life isn't just a standalone novel. It's a chapter in an epic saga that stretches back for generations. When you start to learn the stories of your ancestors, their triumphs, their struggles, their migrations, their passions, you begin to see your own life in a much wider context. You realize that you're the result of 1,000 different stories. Their resilience is woven into your DNA. Their courage is part of your inheritance. For me, that discovery came from a letter written by my great-great-grandfather in 1895. He was a farmer who had just lost his entire crop to a flood. He wrote to his brother not with despair, but with this stubborn, unshakable optimism. He detailed his plans to replant, to rebuild, and to try a new irrigation technique he'd been reading about. He saw a devastating loss, not as an end, but as a lesson. Reading his words, I saw my own struggles with career setbacks in a whole new light. I had always been so hard on myself for any kind of failure. But here was proof, in his own handwriting, that getting back up and trying again wasn't just something I had to learn. It was something I came from. It was part of my family's blueprint. This kind of knowledge doesn't just make you feel connected. It makes you feel fundamentally more capable. You're not starting from scratch. You're building on a foundation that was laid long before you were born. Every family has stories of hardship. We sometimes shy away from them because they feel too sad or heavy. But those are often the stories that hold the most power. Learning about the adversity your ancestors faced and overcame is one of the most effective ways to build your own emotional resilience. When you learn that your great-grandmother survived the Great Depression by starting a small baking business from her kitchen, or that your grandfather moved to a new country with nothing but the clothes on his back, your own problems start to feel more manageable. Research confirms that engaging with these family stories can have real psychological benefits, like helping to reduce anxiety and building a stronger belief in our own ability to handle stress. Their stories become a powerful internal resource. When you're facing a challenge, you can draw on their example. You can think, if they got through that, I can get through this. It's not about minimizing your own struggles, but about putting them in context. It's a reminder that you come from a line of survivors, innovators, and people who kept going when things got tough. This helps create what psychologists call a positive family narrative. It's the overarching story your family tells about itself. Is it a story of being victims of circumstance, or a story of overcoming obstacles? By consciously seeking out and focusing on the stories of resilience, you actively shape this narrative for yourself. You start to see your own life through a lens of strength, not fragility. And that perspective shift is transformative. It's the difference between seeing a crisis as a dead end